Welcome back to another episode of Super J Recap. This time we're going over the semi-final match of the Great Sasuke taking on Jushin Thunder Liger. I'm Kyle, Knocked Out Films, special guest.
Thor, Baseball Banner.
So have you seen a Great Sasuke match before?
I'm not. I'm not. I'm not. Obviously, with Liger's retirement being this past year, well, I guess this year. Gosh.
Yes, it was right, January this year.
But I've seen lots of Liger matches, since the 90s through now. But no, I had not seen a Great Sasuke match, and this was a treat.
Yeah, and this was a peak prime Liger. This is right before he gets injured in September of this year, and this was April. He gets injured and breaks his ankle in September and has to relinquish the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title. But moving forward, so this is peak Liger, and Sasuke has never been better than he was this night. I love Great Sasuke. I've been able to meet him. And
really?
All of that. Yeah, he was at WrestlePalooza last year.
Okay.
He was amazing. He's also obviously much older now, but he still, you can see the enthusiasm still, and it's great.
That's awesome.
But yeah, we got some mat work to start this one out. Liger.
It was slow paced in the beginning.
It was slow paced, but it picks up. It picks up, and we start going crazy from a certain point.
Well, that's they started hitting stuff. I did not again. So this was the first match. I actually watched this one before the other match we were talking about, the Wild Pegasus Gato match, right? So yep. I watched this match first, and I was blown away by what I saw.
Yeah,
blown away. They were hitting moves that you see a lot today,
Yeah.
When I saw, what was it, the springboard moonsault off the middle rope?
Yeah, and that's, I was going to joke, it's Sasuke, because it was when he was making his comeback, Sasuke, after Liger was working over his arm, Sasuke hits the Acai moonsault, and I'm like, wait, technically it wasn't called the Acai moonsault yet, because Acai's Ultimo Dragon, right. And Dragon wasn't as prominent yet.
Yeah.
He'd grow to be over the course of 94, 95, but it's it was just a moonsault at this point. And yeah, Liger's selling the his arm a lot, because I think they very much used both of these semi-final matches to get sympathy and get you behind both Wild Pegasus and the Great Sasuke. You wanted to see both of them come from behind and get this victory, and show that fighting spirit that New Japan's so into.
Well, and with not being able to speak Japanese and just watching these matches that don't have an English commentary, you really had to pay attention to the ring work and the story that they were telling, visually with,
yep.
Working the arm and then selling the arm later. But yeah, it was masterfully done. I was completely enthralled watching that match. And it was my first time watching a match that I couldn't understand the commentary. And I was
yep.
I didn't know how that was going to go for me, right? Because, am I going to be disinterested? But then I was like, it's not really the commentary that I ever pay that much attention to. So I don't, it's just white noise to a certain extent, right?
Yeah.
Listen to the crowd and then listen to, because when they started when the crowd started chanting Sasuke, Sasuke, I was like, oh, I didn't know who was the face going, I don't know who they like going in, who they didn't like going in, and Liger is such a fan favorite now,
mm-hmm.
and I kind of maybe assumed that, he was in that babyface role even back then. But then it seemed like the crowd was more behind Sasuke in that match, heavily behind Sasuke in that match.
Yeah, really, like I'll have to look back, but really the only like heels in the tournament in total is kind of Gato. Like Gato is really the only one who's like a full heel. Whereas everything, because I actually in the first match because Sasuke and Wild Pegasus both get buys in the first round.
In the first round, okay.
And so I don't get to review my first Sasuke match until later on. And his first match against El Samurai in this tournament, I even pointed out the fact that the only person who got a better reaction than Sasuke was Liger.
Okay.
Like, that was the only person who, even close to, had that same reaction. That was before Sasuke even did anything. That was just his entrance and just his introduction. But yeah, there was like, Liger hits the Liger bomb, only gets a 2, does a big top rope Hurricane Rana by Liger. And then Sasuke rolls through that, but just gets a 2. Those wicked release German suplexes that both of them were throwing around during this tournament. It's like, oh wow, that's ridiculous.
Remind me a little bit of a Naito and a Bushi, like how let's drop each other on each other's head just repeatedly.
Yeah,
for fun. Yeah. Why not? Sounds like a good time.
So yeah, and then Liger was using the Liger bomb, obviously, but he was also using the top rope Hurricane Rana, and he actually won matches earlier in the night with that Fisherman Buster, and he was kind of using that as his like big finish during this time. So the fact that he hits the Fisherman Buster and Sasuke kicks out, that's why the crowd just went crazy of like, oh, that's like super crazy. And then Liger does a release suplex from the apron because of course Sasuke's one of the. I wrote this in my notes, not remembering a spot in the finals of Liger does a release suplex from the apron to the outside, and of course Sasuke takes it because he's a crazy person. Not realizing Sasuke would give that to someone else later on. So,
yeah. Well, didn't Liger at one point go off the pole?
Yeah, he did a dive to the outside as well, and then of course the finish was typical Jushin Liger, especially at this time. He was a babyface, but he's also a little cocky. So the fact that Sasuke goes for what it looks like it was probably going to be a springboard Hurricane Rana, and he slips.
The botch. Oh, the botch.
And of course, Liger's reaction is just to make fun of him, pose for a little bit, and then he gets hit with a Hurricane Rana for the win.
That was hilarious because he did. That was a funny. That has to be a pretty historical botch, right?
Yeah.
In the semifinals of the first Super J Cup, to hit that, fall flat on your face, and then Liger's just like, does his thing, and then gets up and he hits that like almost face plant Rana.
Yeah.
It's brutal.
Yeah.
And then picks up the 1, 2, 3, which is funny because I thought Liger was going to win it. I didn't know. For a second, I was like, was that a miss or was that almost intentional? No, he full on face planted.
Yeah,
and, like screwed up.
Yeah, and it's like part of me is like, okay, was it supposed to be a botch that he botched even worse than he thought he was going to, or was it just flat out botch? And it's like, okay, it was probably just flat out botch. But even with that botch, 4 3/4 on the Observer. It's a 9.15 on Cage Match.
Wow.
This match is very highly regarded still.
I can see why. It is like you said, it starts a little bit slow with a few rest holds and stuff, but then goes breakneck speeds with, these top rope Ranas and moonsaults off the second rope. It gets crazy, and it gets crazy fast.
Yep.
And they take some wicked bumps. And I was like, so watching that first, I was like, whoa, whoa. And then watching the second match, I was like, okay. So I really was curious as to how then going into the final. Now we got Wild Pegasus winning from our first match. Now going up against Great Sasuke in the finals, and that was like, I was like, okay, I'm very curious to see how that played out.
Yep. And yeah, like check out the next video, for that finals, because that's the next one we're reviewing tomorrow. Yep. So Thor, do your plugs real quick.
Baseball Banner, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all over the place.
Yeah, and then you can follow me at Knocked Out Films on Instagram and Twitter, and follow this at knockedoutentertainment.com, and then like and subscribe on the YouTube channel. So thanks for watching.